Hello and welcome to Lunchtime Politics on Channels Television. I'm Millicent Walker. On the news this hour, Nigeria's Nobel laureate and human rights activist Professor Soyinka warns of solution to the farmers' herdsmen crisis, says it should be done with caution and sense of humanity. As INEC moves to ensure better conduct of elections in Kogi and Bayelsa states, there are concerns on security of the polls in the wake of the role of security agencies in the 2019 elections. As the Nigerian Senate names its principal officers, an ad hoc committee also inaugurated to set the legislative agenda for the 9th Senate. What are the expectations, the pending bills, and the realities? Welcome everyone to the program. We begin today from an ongoing presidential elections tribunal where the tribunal sitting in Abuja is hearing the joint suit filed by the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and the Hope Democratic Party, challenging President Muhammadu Buhari's victory at the 2019 presidential elections. At the last hearing, the PDP had promised to provide 400 witnesses to stand for examination at the tribunal, while both the defense and prosecuting counsel agreed on modalities to reduce time wasting. We'll join our correspondent much later on those proceedings. In the meantime, the security situation in some parts of the country is becoming worrisome to the president, and he is reaffirming his commitment to bring an end to the trend. The president gave the assurance yesterday when he received members of the Buhari support group who paid him a visit at the State House. President Buhari also affirms his commitment to delivering on his promises to Nigerians at all levels. Our correspondent Gloria Mezoke reports.
President Muhammadu Buhari face-to-face with members of the Buhari Media Organization. It's a group of media volunteers formed in 2013 with a mandate to promote and defend the Buhari candidacy and administration. Among them is Mr. Tunde Thompson, a journalist jailed in 1984 under the notorious Decree 4 of 1983.
It's a great privilege to be here.
The chairman of the group spoke on their commitment to the president.
There is progress on many fronts, and several arrests are being made. The same goes to the fight against corruption. Your talk is being matched with actions.
It is almost exactly 1 year ago.
President Muhammadu Buhari describes the Buhari Media Organization as a strategic information management asset whose efforts cannot be repaid. He assures of his resolve to keep his promises.
The task ahead for the next 4 years will require a formidable team. We are doing unpopular things in face of powerful individuals and taking on vested interests who are accustomed to the corrupt old manner. But we must do things the right way. If we promise change, then we must deliver it. I'm determined to end the security challenges we face as a country.
President Buhari had earlier hosted the Buhari Support Group Center, which submitted a proposal to him seeking to transform into a research center called Buharism Center.
It's a political ideology and philosophy which is his, which all of us are ready to try and get a center in which we can be able to develop and harness and distribute and get Nigerians and even non-Nigerians to accept the political ideology that engulfs everybody.
They say the center will be self-sustaining and will teach the Buhari political ideology beyond his second tenure in office. From the presidential villa, Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
Just here we have our correspondent, Amaka Okafo, live from the venue of the Presidential Elections Petition Tribunal. Amaka, what's the latest of the proceedings today?
The pre-trial hearing in the petition filed by the People's Democratic Party and its presidential candidate Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, which began on the 27th of March 2019, has come to an end today as the chairman of the tribunal has set down July the 4th for hearing in the petition in the main. Now, in concluding the pre-trial hearing, the chairman who is Justice Mohammed Garba read the pre-trial hearing reports, including all that happened, which included all that happened from the 27th up till today, the applications that were taken, the rulings that were given, and the decisions that were taken by parties as to the structure in which the petition in the main will take, how many days parties will need, the kinds of documents and the kinds of witnesses to be presented. And after reading out the report, he held that since the parties had decided that the petition hearing should begin on the 4th, the court will endorse that date and continue and commence with the hearing tomorrow, which is the 4th of July. But before the pre-trial report was delivered by the chairman of the tribunal dismissed the application filed by the People's Democratic Party and its presidential candidate seeking to expunge the proceedings of June the 11th, 2019. The tribunal held that the application lacked in merit, and as such, it dismissed it. But I did speak to the counsel to Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, who said that he disagrees with the position of the tribunal and will head to the apex court with immediate effect. However, they are ready to proceed with the petition, and they will call all the necessary witnesses within the time frame required by law. The respondents also said they are ready for the hearing of the petition, and so by tomorrow the petition filed by Alhaji Atiku Abubakar will be heard by the tribunal until the time required for the tribunal to deliver judgment in the petition. Back to you, Lagos.
Well, thanks, Amaka Okafo there. So pre-trial ends and then full hearing begins tomorrow. Thank you for that update. Let's take you over. Still talking security. Nobel laureate Professor Soyinka has described the initiative over the implementation of the Ruga settlement following protests in some states over the program as an explosive issue that needs to be handled carefully. He explains that ranching has been the solution to cattle rearing in different countries of the world, adding that ranching or any other initiative to solve the herders-farmers crisis should be done with humanity as priority.
Ruga is going to be an explosive issue, and it had better be handled very carefully. Why is it that we fail to take our models from successful performers? There are ways in which people deal and have dealt for decades, for centuries with cattle everywhere. I travel everywhere. There's nothing so strange, nothing mysterious about cattle rearing. Why should cattle become a problem just because we like to eat beef?
Ahead of the November 16, 2019 governorship election in Bayelsa and Kogi states, the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, is expressing concerns over the safety of INEC officials, property, and the sanctity of the electoral process. Professor Yakubu says there is need for electoral offenders to be prosecuted swiftly in order to serve as a deterrent to others. He advocates the establishment of an electoral offences tribunal. The INEC chairman was speaking at a meeting of the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security in Abuja.
As we review the 2019 general elections, we must also pay attention to the forthcoming off-season elections. The Bayelsa and Kogi governorship elections are scheduled to hold on Saturday, 16th November 2019. Given the history of political violence resulting in the governorship elections declared inconclusive in the two states in 2015, the Commission is concerned about the safety of our personnel properties, and the sanctity of the electoral process. The politicians in Bayelsa and Kogi must shed off the toga of political violence associated with the conduct of elections in the two states.